I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10. I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe.
What was that?
Oh, here we are. Probably won't.
We might just have to leave that in because that won't make any sense otherwise.
It was trying. I was rocking my hand back and forth like I do at the end, and my finger hit the space bar and it restarted the song.
My finger hit the space bar.
My finger hit the space bar.
It's not going to stop us from coming back, though.
No,
because we're back.
We're back after a few weeks off, and this is our. This was an episode that and the last one we said we're doing one or the other. We don't know which one, and we're doing it. We're doing
one of them.
If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I'm in my formal garb, which is where the wild things are, crown, and I'm wearing a cape from Magic Quest from Great Wolf Lodge. So we're ready to go
Lodge.
For the in the name of the king. Great Wolf Lodge. You don't know Great Wolf Lodge?
I don't know.
You don't know Great Wolf Lodge? Okay, Jad. Great Wolf Lodge is a destination for families. It is a giant log cabin-looking motel that has a giant indoor-outdoor water park, and it's all theme around a wolf lodge. And the kids walk around wearing Great Wolf Lodge ears like a wolf. And there is candy shops. There is this Magic Quest where you get a little wizard's wand and you go to different things to like point your wand at, and it'll give you like clues and stuff or little like obstacles that you have to do. And then they have laser tag and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a destination. So I'm sure there's one in your neck of the woods somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, it's not just there's not just one. There's not just one location.
There's lots of them, but you're gonna have to check that out.
Well, should we plan our next boys reunion?
No, I'm never going to one again. There's just way too many people, and it
sounds
like the food's not good. You know, it's like if you were at a big hotel where they were just serving you like buffet style chicken tenders and stuff, that's like what the food is. So
it sounds like a great place to go and just throw your money in the trash can. The kind of stuff that you're you go. Imagine this hotel where they just cut out
pretty
all
accurate.
the BS.
Pretty accurate.
They just do away with all the BS, right? And you check into your hotel room, and they just have a pit in the middle where you start throwing your money into it, and then that's your experience.
You know what one of the best things is? So, with, modern hotels where if you have the app, you can kind of do the keyless, check-in and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Great Wolf Lodge, you have to go to the lobby. You have to wait in a line of 80 people to get checked in before you can get to your room. Like, they refuse to do any sort of modern technology when it comes to checking in the hotel. And then you have to wear wristbands all weekend or however long you're there, because your wristband identifies if you can go into the pool area or not. So it's one of those
you
places.
have to like subscribe to different tiers or different packages to experience this stuff. Like gold tier lets you
I don't know. Maybe
I
don't.
And like
I think you. That's where you just start throwing your money into the pit.
go to a destination hotel and have to like do all these add-ons to experience it. And,
Yeah.
wow.
They have mini golf.
So,
I know that.
for a charge? Or is that included?
I think that's included. I think that's one of the few things. I think the laser tag's included too. But I think you pay a
really
pretty steep
selling it.
price. Yeah, I know.
You're really selling it. I can't wait to go. Great Wolf Lodge.
That's awesome.
Well, unfortunately, they did not sponsor this episode, so
They-
I guess they just got a free ad.
Sure. Was it a good ad? I don't know.
Okay, I have another. Here's another way to throw your money out the window, almost literally. This last weekend, we're recording this on a Monday night. And this last weekend, I had to go to a store, make a return. I've done this several times. It's downtown in Nashville, and I've never had a problem. And it's basically at the border of where Honky Tonk is, and there's a underground parking structure, and it's $5 to park, right, for the first hour or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always there for less than an hour because walk in, return the stuff, walk out. And I happened to go on a Saturday. I've never done that before, and it's extremely busy. If you've been to Nashville and you go down to Broadway, especially on the weekend, doesn't matter time of day, it's
Packed.
bamboozled with just bodies down there, right? And the traffic is terrible, and pull into
Just
the garage.
everybody dressed up like they're going to a Shania Twain concert, right?
Yep, yeah. They've just come from the Great Wolf Lodge, and they're going, Tonkin and stuff. And I'm surprised we don't have one downtown. And so traffic is nuts. Traffic is crazy just to get into the parking lot or parking structure. And, I'm boxed in by the time we get in there, and there's a guy at the ticket taker, thing where they, raise the gate so you can go in.
Yeah.
And so I'm fully boxed in at this point, completely committed. And he said, "What are you here for?" Like, to park? This is a parking lot, right? He goes, "That's $45. It's like,
Oh shit!
what?
The special event parking?
I don't know what the deal was, but there was no alternative. The only way I could go was forward, and the only way to do that was to pay $45, and for like a 5-minute trip to a store, right? So I was thoroughly annoyed by this, and
right.
Sounds like that's how they nickel and dime you at Great Wolf Lodge. Great Wolf,
right?
Whatever the fuck it is.
I don't know if they charge for parking though, so that might be the only
that's
differentiator. Yeah, it's a perk.
Come here for free parking. So anyways, that was I wouldn't call that a typical day, because that's just kind of, on the weekend.
Well, how much were you getting back on the return?
Well, pretty much that. It was like a wash. It cost me money to go there. I should have just kept whatever I was taking back, right?
Yeah.
Or just mailed it, right? I could have mailed it, but that was, provides its own inconveniences.
Sure.
But holy smokes, that was super annoying. So
that does stink.
Kind of a mini TD, but speaking of typical days, and it's been a minute since we've had a true typical day here, and I know that you have one queued up, but as luck would have it, we scheduled this show or this recording anyways, and it's, as Penny said, it's been a few weeks, and so earlier today I was thinking, man, what am I going to have to talk about? What are we going to talk about? I don't know,
right?
Because we're talking about a movie we watched 2 months ago, and I don't remember anything about that.
Yeah, because Brian is so busy, busy. Can never get on. Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think of something I can bring up. And as luck would have it, there is a typical
Man.
day just waiting around the corner. Okay. So about a year ago, this time, we were recording the Maverick or the Independence Day and Top Gun doubleheader. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
that's
talked
right.
about this in the past, but while Brian was there too, while the three of us were recording that, the people that were doing the siding project in our HOA just knocked on the back door where I used to record, and they had to come in and paint immediately right then on a Sunday.
Gotta paint
heads up,
now.
nothing. We got to paint this door now. So there's 4 people in this room that I was recording that episode in, and I think we added pictures to the story and whatever. But so during that whole siding project, and we've talked about that multiple times, the installers ripped all of our bedroom screens to the windows, and we
Oh, that's
told
right.
the property manager about that immediately, right? So we said, yo, the all our screens are ripped. What are you
Okay.
gonna do about it? And they said, oh yeah, we'll get that figured out. That was last July.
Totally take care of that for you.
That was July of 22. And today, unbeknownst to us, completely unannounced, guy shows up at the house saying, hey, I'm here to fix your screens. And by chance, my wife was here. And she was like, what? Okay. And the guy said initially, yeah, I'm here to fix your screens, but I can do it from the outside. So I'll just, I don't need to come in. She said, oh, that's perfect. Right.
Sure.
Because both her and our daughter were still in pajamas and stuff because it was this morning and I had just left. And so
It was
that
like
lasted
8
about
a.m.
like 3 minutes. And then he was back knocking on the door and said, oh, I got to check your toilets too. See if they're loose. Tighten them down. I'm like, what the fuck? Fucking toilets? Just do the screens, right? Please just do the screens outside.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, so I'll go upstairs and fix your screens. So he said he was going to fix the screens outside. And then 5 minutes later, he's up in our bedrooms, fucking taking out these old screens. And they're so dusty and nasty and stuff. And so he was repairing these exterior window screens on our bedroom carpet floor. And
no way.
Yes. And so I had to so I built our crib for our daughter, and it's disassembled currently, and it's all under our bed. And when I got home later, it was like the whole fucking thing was like completely askew from where I had it. So he must have been kicking it around while he was on the floor, like cutting up the old screen and then repairing the metal frame with new screen and stuff. And so he did that in both bedrooms. And then he went and was like tinkering around with the toilets upstairs and then the one downstairs. And then he says, so at this point, it's like been a while and Sarah had places to go. So she said, yeah, you're going to have to come back or something because I have to go. And by the way, you didn't tell us that you were coming, so you got to go. He goes, oh, I got to go get parts anyway. So they all leave. They all come back. And then he had taken off the toilet. He fucking removed the toilet. He said he just had to tighten the bolts, right? And then they come back and the toilet is off.
Do you think this guy was getting paid by the amount of work he did?
I don't know, maybe because okay. He said the sealant ring was cracked, right? And then he had to go get that part. And then he needed to go to different bolts, right? For the fucking toilet shit. And so I come home And the toilet is on fucking stilts, and I'm not kidding. It is propped up
They
above the floor on these little
Jad sent
tiny
us a picture.
scraps of wood. We'll put a picture up right here, right?
There's fucking shims. Just put some shims on a toilet.
But these are like
Why?
inch and a half
Why?
tall fucking shims. And I'm just staring at this guy. I walk in, and he's like, doing this. And I was like, yeah, I got you. Got it all fixed up for you. I had to, do some stuff. And it's not on the floor. He said, yeah, well, the flange was too long. And so, it's like, at this point, it was 3:30, I think.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's like, I don't have time to fix that. And it's hot. We're inside in the AC, right? He said, I don't have time to fix that. And it's hot. And this should be just fine. I'm thinking, it's not on the floor.
What if one of those comes out? You're just going to break the flange.
Okay. He said, but don't worry. I know it works because I used it. And I looked at him like, he goes, oh, just kidding. Sarah told me 10 minutes later that he used that bathroom twice while he was there. And okay, so now he leaves and he says it's all super sturdy and it's solid and it's you're good to go. I'll tell my boss about it, but I don't think he's gonna, make me come back. Like, I don't know what you think is gonna happen, but the toilet's not gonna stay on stilts. Right?
I gotta be honest, I've never ever seen a toilet like that with wood spacers.
Yeah. Okay. So you know why toilets don't leak, Spenny? It's because you put them on a fucking plastic ring with a shit ton of wax and sealant, right? That squishes down, and that's what makes a water seal. That can't happen if the toilet is not touching it, right?
What would be great is if this guy comes back and he just cocks an inch and a half all the way around this toilet. He just uses 4 tubes.
Okay. Wood floor colored cock.
Yeah.
Good to go. Okay, so
he throws some sawdust on it, trying to make it from your shop. You probably take it from your
he finds okay, so while he was now I'm hearing about this what happened earlier, because after he took the toilet off, he didn't drain the water. Like, the simplest thing to consider when you're working with the toilet is to turn the water off and then keep flushing it until there's no more water left, right?
Yeah. And it usually takes like 1 or 2 times, and then it's all gone.
He disconnected the toilet and then lifted up. There's a bunch of water and shit. And so he then proceeded, my mom told me, that he tried to use the hand towel from our kitchen to start mopping that up. And luckily he was there to say, no, don't use that. Please use paper towels or something. And then Sarah walked down and was able to hand him a bunch of my shop rags so that he used. It's like, he was just going to use a fucking hand towel to mop up all this toilet water. And
oh my God.
And so then when I get home, he's like grunting and putting the final touches on his, like little Lincoln logs that he arranged underneath the toilet, right? And I immediately cleaned that whole bathroom because he left it so fucking filthy. And there's like grease and there's literal shit on the light switch little panel thing. And so as I'm cleaning this toilet, it's just rocking the fuck over, right? It's just like leaning tower of this fucking shitty toilet. And I flushed it a couple times as part of, cleaning the bowl and everything. And this fucking toilet water just comes out from underneath it. You know why? because it's on fucking stilts. It's not connected to anything. and
Oh my God.
and so
God.
it smells as bad as what you would think. It smells like sewer in there. And so now I
Yeah,
have
well,
the exhaust fan running.
this guy has to come
constantly.
back. This guy has to come back.
okay.
Well, not
Okay.
this guy.
So-
somebody else. Right.
Okay. So Sarah is now texting the property manager, and she says, a maintenance guy came, and now the toilet is leaking and it's off the floor. And the property manager said, there was a maintenance person that came today. We're like, yeah, and the toilet leaks now. She said, the toilet leaks? Yeah, now it does. and then we sent a picture of it on stilts and stuff. And she said, so what part of she asked if it looked like the toilet was making a seal. And I said, the toilet isn't on the ground. And then she's like, okay. Well, so apparently they're coming back at 8 a.m. tomorrow, which is just, okay, that's great that they're coming back right away in the morning, but why is it now my job to fucking be home for all this shit? Right?
Yeah. Why?
Like,
Why is it
I
my
had to
problem
clean up
now?
for him. I had to clean up after him, just like the fucking carpet cleaning that I got, right?
Yeah.
I had to do just as much work after getting the carpets cleaned than the carpet cleaners. Not to mention the time that it took. I had to take off of work to do that. And now I have to take time off of work for this shit. The toilet was fine.
To get it fixed. Yeah, why did you get... Wouldn't you have reported if there was trouble with the toilet? Like,
Yes.
hey, just so you know, like, we're having trouble with the toilet. Like, oh, let me preemptively just fuck this up for you.
He was there to fix a couple screens on the outside of the house, and I come home and the toilet's on stilts.
Do you think this guy read like his work orders and it's like, okay, I gotta fix screens here and then I have 2 toilets. And he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna fix the toilets at this place so then I don't have to go to 2 places because it's hot. Don't forget, it's hot. So,
for fuck's sake. I think that's why he didn't
Shit.
replace the screens outside like he said he was going to, because it was too hot. And the other thing is that, okay,
he probably didn't have his ladder too.
Well, when I got home, okay, his truck was parked in front of our driveway, right? And it was running, and the driver's side door was just wide open, right? And okay, so he's completely blocking my driveway, and the property manager gives us fucking tickets for not parking in the driveway.
Right.
And
That's incredible.
come on, dude.
Man, I mean, you sent this picture and you're just like, look at this. And we're like, what is
I sent this
happening?
picture with no context, right? Rather than saying,
Yeah.
my toilet's on stilts.
Uh,
And by the way, the toilet is just resting on them, right? As you would imagine. But so the bolts are way too long coming out of the floor, which means the caps don't fit on there anymore. They're just dangling on there. And yet somehow the bolts being that long weren't sufficient enough to keep this from rocking around, because as part of while I was cleaning it, I was cleaning the bottom of the bowl and everything, and in the kind of the foot part, and 2 of these stupid fucking shims just shot out. I was wiping with a paper towel, and they just shot out. and
so wobbly that if it just tilts one way, then you can just pull one of those out. It's like Jenga.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a Jenga toilet now.
Like Jenga, yeah.
This is so crazy.
So, anyways, that's a little typical day, part 1. Maybe there might be a part 2 coming, because as of recording this, they're supposed to come. This guy's supposed to come in the morning.
We'll keep you updated on that one.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll save mine for next time.
Okay.
Because I think that was a good one. I don't want to I want to blast TDs all over. That was hilarious.
Holy smokes. Well,
the most trivial fix is screens where you just kind of cut them out and then you kind of rejig them onto the frame.
Yeah.
And later, did they do both toilets or just that one?
Apparently he kind of fiddled with the other toilets to the toilets are fine.
Just tighten the bolts.
There's nothing wrong
just tighten
with
the bolts.
Toilets. Yeah. There was no need for any of this. But apparently so the property manager came out a month earlier and Sarah was home at that time too. And she was trying to tell Sarah that, yeah, these toilets are loose. Like, no, they're not. You're just making this shit up. And at the same time, we showed them the fact that there's in the living room, above the gas fireplace, there's all these black streaks on the wall and on the ceiling. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's just the ceiling joists shifting around. It's fucking exhaust stuff in this backed up gas fireplace that we've complained about. And I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show or not, but the property manager said, oh yeah, when we complained about the smell of gas in the house, they said, oh yeah, don't use the fireplace because that's a fire hazard. It's a gas fireplace. Fucking fix that. Like, that's a liability if it's a fire hazard. And so these black marks, awesome. Yeah, on the like interior house side of the ceiling. Yeah. Like the drywall is black because the rafters are moving around. And it just so happens that the metal vent caps are also black because the rafters are moving those around, even though they're not connected to the rafters.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense.
So it's been awesome actually living here and dealing with this.
It's been great.
It's been great.
Surprised they don't come over and be like, you can't have all this stuff in your garage. You're gonna have to get it out. You're gonna have to start parking one car in there.
Yeah. So luckily they've never opened the garage door, and I kind of am now worried a little bit if they ever do, because I can see them making a whole issue.
It's a fire hazard.
It's just a fire hazard.
You see all this wood here? It burns.
Yep. Yeah. So anyways.
That's awesome. Thanks, Chad. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I do what I can around here. I'm just living my life.
Yeah. Just living your life. You just welcome people into your life to provide entertainment. You and Sarah, your wife.
That's what we do.
You're like, okay, sure, let's do this. Man. Good stuff.
Yeah. Should we talk at all before this movie?
Sure.
Should we talk at all about our little unofficial fat face challenge 2.0 that we kind of got going on? It's like it's less of a challenge and more of a, I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know. I only bring it up because
just don't eat as much.
Yeah.
I mean, you do look great.
Thanks, dog. So do you. The boys are trying to work over here. We're putting in the effort in ways that aren't in the past completely antagonistic and like spiteful to each other.
Maybe we'll
to like
to murder each other,
close their rings and stuff.
The fucking Apple Watch.
Yeah,
but we I mean, we're trying to be healthy. We're not at the point yet where we can do the Ascension to 10 calendar, 12 months of it. We're almost there. I haven't taken any.
Is that what you mean?
I haven't taken any before pictures in a while. So
is this going to be a Patreon perk? Like a tasteful news calendar?
Tasteful news calendar.
Once we finally made our goals.
Jad will be using different equipment. So, you know, he might be half nude with a saw, or, you know, with a big, you know, wrench that he gets at Harbor Freight for an oil rig. I have no idea.
Like a fucking paperweight from the bank.
Me with a fax machine, maybe a copier. Have some butt cheeks on a copier.
Oh.
Using my work phone.
Do you have like the long Bluetooth thing that you have in your ear all day?
There's people that have those. Yes, there is one at my office. I don't use it, but I also right now I have a monitor that's purple and it's supposed to be blue.
You still have that.
So everything I look at has two different colors.
If you in any way consider yourself a fan of ergonomics, we need to put up the picture of fucking your setup at work, because this is an HR's nightmare. He's got his computer or his keyboard at the corner of two L's at an L, and your wrist must be like,
that's where it was set up. I can't
right?
I can't move it. That's where they're all mounted. What am I supposed to do? I'm stuck with it.
So bad.
Well, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm more frustrated about the monitor because I have one monitor that literally has completely wrong color. So every once in a while I have to show somebody the colors on a screen and they're like, that doesn't look right. I'm like, you're right, because it's fucking broken. Like every other day, one monitor works, the other one doesn't. Like they just shut off randomly. So I have to always unplug both of them and plug them back in to see if they work. I don't know what's going on.
That's so awesome. Oh man.
Yeah. Great.
That just gave me a flashback, the headset thing to, I guess this would have been I don't know, sophomore year of college, when you were rocking your little Bluetooth.
Stupid Bluetooth.
It's
the old school Bluetooth that you put in your ear that had a little loop on your ear, and then it just kept fucking flashing blue. Like, no one needs to know that it's a Bluetooth flashing blue. Like, stop flashing lights at people. But yes, I used to wear that when I was driving, and so stupid.
How many phone calls did you have back then?
I never got phone. Never got phone calls. I just thought that was so cool because back then it was I could use it on my MacBook because it had Bluetooth connectivity. Whoa. And so I could use it to make like FaceTime calls and I could wear it. But that didn't happen either. So I don't even know what the point was.
We're talking 2007, right? Ish.
Yeah, 2007. Yep.
And this would have been when they were first kind of around, right? Smartphones
2006,
were just around the
2007.
corner, right? Smartphones were
that's when
you would have had a BlackBerry or something, right?
I had an LGV. That was the first one with the flip up keyboard.
Ooh.
So
Envy,
next gen. That's the phone I dropped in the toilet twice in 1 year. So I had to get,
so you had a Bluetooth
get it replaced.
Okay, there wasn't even smartphones for that Bluetooth thing. It was literally just a normal ass phone with a keyboard.
I think so. I mean, I think it had a browser or something, but it was like, who was going to use it in 2007?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was 3G back then.
Yeah. No web pages were developed for that. And it's like
you just
one
texted.
Website. You could,
yeah. Pay money to down ringtones.
Yeah.
Where did we get here? How did we get here?
I don't know, man. All right, I guess we should stop
Okay,
lollygagging, right?
we'll talk about this movie. So Brian was supposed to do this with us. It's called The Name of the King. I stumbled upon this movie a couple months ago. I don't know, it was on YouTube or something, and I saw this trailer for this movie, and I was like, this can't be real. Like, I mean, basically the premise of this whole thing was kind of like a competitor to Lord of the Rings. Like, it came out, I think, 2007, so Lord of the Rings came out 2003. So I think there was the director was kind of taking his interpretation of trying to make some full-length trilogy that was adventure with wizards and magic and these big org-looking armies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he got 60 million to do it, and it produced 13 million in box office. And this thing fucking sucks. We'll just start with
It's funny. I think this is, we've seen some stinkers recently, right?
yeah.
Steven Seagal movies, and what was the? Oh shoot! Because for a while, the first Steven Seagal we watched was, at the time, we said this is the worst thing I've ever seen, right? And
Yes,
obviously we say that a lot around here, but after watching this, stumbling through it, this is by far the worst thing I have ever seen. It's so bad.
It doesn't make any sense. It has Jason Statham in it, Ron Perlman, Richard Burton. It's got, Ray Liotta. It's got, who are the other ones? I had it pulled up. Now I can't find it. But
yeah, they pulled some names.
Gaggle of great names of people that you would know. Here, one second. I gotta find it.
Dead air.
So it's got Jason Statham, Lily Sabieski. If you know her, she's from Never Been Kissed. It has John Rhys Davies, who's from Lord of the Rings. Ron Perlman. It has Matthew Lillard. That was the other one I was trying to think of.
Oh, the Lillard.
So there's just a lot of, Matthew Lillard's in it. So it's just like all these people that you're like, oh, maybe this will have some potential. Oh no, it doesn't. And I think where everything goes wrong is like the literal opening scene of this movie is Ray Liotta like kissing some girl that's less than half his age and like sucking the life out of her. Like literally. He's kissing her and you just see the life sucking out of her and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And
but okay, so the dialogue here was she was into it, right, for the first couple smooches, and then they're all like, keep in mind, I think we watched this in May, right? We're recording this on July 24th, right? There's a lot we're gonna miss here, but now it's starting to kind of come back to me. But they're like, smooching, and he's all like, you're developing your powers, because it would go. He
talks like that too.
Yeah, you would go to this shot where it was outside and there was this tree with the blossoms and stuff, and then she's all like, ha, ha, ha. The more time I'm with you, it's like I get stronger and stuff, and then they kiss one more time, exactly the same as before, and then she's like, I think you should go because when you're here I feel sick or I feel weak. Yeah. She just said that he's helping her feel stronger or something, right? And then it's like, whenever you're here, I'm weak and stuff. And then
that's so awesome.
But wasn't at the beginning? This is okay. Boom! Not even opening credits, but and not even a title screen. Boom! It's like this canyon, mountain, lake thing with this castle built into the mountain, and it's like just immediate voiceover to some dumbass plot thing that about the was it about the evil wizard or something? And I was like,
the evil wizard,
no introduction,
trying to take over like the kingdom of Ebb. Yeah.
So that's a little mini introduction. It's like two characters that don't mean anything at this point because there's no introduction to them other than they're kind of smooching. And she immediately contradicts herself. Within her first speaking role, she contradicts herself. And that sets up the dialogue for this movie. And then it's like Jason Statham's out, scything some wheat or something with a boomerang, and then you learn that he's called Farmer, and that's not just a kind of a nickname. It's his name, and his wife calls him that.
He's a farmer, and he just throws a boomerang to throw a boomerang. There was no rhyme or reason for why he was throwing a boomerang. And then Ron Perlman just shows up with a baby pig, and the farmer's kid calls him Farmer. He doesn't call him Dad. He calls him Farmer.
The farmer's wife calls him Farmer. Her family calls him Farmer. His best friend calls him Farmer. And then I remember texting you while I was watching this. I'm like, I think I said, is his name just Farmer?
Yeah.
How lazy is
yes.
that? Right. And then
so this Uwe Boll is the director of this film, and his intention was to make this film. Basically, they had recorded so much, and it was so long that he wanted it to be two like full length films, and then he had to edit it down for the theatrical release into one movie. So, can you imagine what else was in this thing? Can you imagine?
I probably
like it was already.
I would hope, right?
Who knows?
At least provide that, right?
There's literally no background on who Farmer is other than he's a farmer.
He's a person that happens to
he has a wife
farm,
and a kid,
right?
Right.
And so as I'm remembering this now, so immediately the wife and the kid have to go to market or something, and they're loading up the wagon, and Farmer's not going to go because there's another half bushel or something to get before the autumn whatever, right. and so they're like loading up, and it's going to be a long ass journey, and there's see you in a week or something, right? And then all of a sudden it's just cameras moving around from the weeds, and these, what are they called, krugs?
Just like the krugs, and it's just like the wind, wasn't it? It's just like the sound of wind.
Yeah, it's just wind,
and then some like footprints, or footsteps.
Oh yeah.
And then Farmer just keeps looking around. There's literally nothing. He looks around for like probably 2 straight minutes, and then all of a sudden he turns around, and there's like 30 of them, and they're just coming right at his face, and it's just like
army of krugs. And then
what is happening right now?
Domes all of them with his boomerang, right?
With the boomerang. Well, yeah, it doesn't. There's no background on like all of a sudden Farmer is some super fighter, and there's no context to that. Yeah, he and Ron Perlman are just best buds, and Perlman is just beating the crap out of him because they're burning his barn, and they're like, "Oh man, we gotta go. We gotta hurry. We gotta get to my wife and kid. We gotta tell them something's wrong, and we gotta make sure they're okay."
So it took them like, all day to get to the town, and then they're just there. They just show up there immediately.
They're just there
after the Krug attack, and during the Krug attack of the town, right? And then it's just so drawn out with her on the tower, and it's all burning, and then the kid and the stuff, and the kid gets killed, and it's just
they kill it. He kills the son. Yeah, and it's and all during this whole thing, the evil wizard that we saw at the beginning, he is in his
like
virtual reality.
Right?
Yeah, he's avataring, and he just points.
Yep.
He's just pointing at different people, and then they were just getting killed. He was just pointing at them.
Just kind of points. Bah! And you.
And they all just.
And you.
But yeah. Yeah. And so that's like the main plot, right, of this film. But on the other side, the secondary plot is Richard Burton is the king. His daughter is the girl that's getting seduced by the evil wizard, and
I
his
thought that
nephew
was no. It was
is that his.
the girl was the
Oh yeah,
daughter
that's
of his
that
wizard.
was his wizard or his hand, right?
Because
Hand
every
of
king
the-
needs a wizard or something.
every
right?
king needs a wizard. That's right. So Matthew Lillard's character plays this idiot nephew who
Just idiot.
thinks he deserves to have be next in line, and he's just
Yeah.
always constantly saying stupid stuff, trying to figure out ways he can get that crown. And
Well,
he and the evil wizard.
He
Yeah.
is in succession, right? Because the king has no son, and so he
Right.
is in the succession line. He's just too impatient, right? And the
Right.
evil wizard is all trying to get him to make it happen faster, or convince him that he wants
Right.
it faster, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm remembering when the king shows up, right? Because apparently there's like Krug attacks all over the kingdom, right? And then
Right.
30 minutes after the Krug attack, the king is there, right? Checking on his subjects.
Yeah.
And I have this memory of the costume design where the king and his entourage show up. The king is the only one wearing a helmet. And then
Yeah.
his helmet is like propped up on the dome of his head. It's not covering anything. It doesn't fit at all. It looks so stupid. And he's the only one wearing a helmet. It's not a crown, right? It's just a battle
Yeah.
helmet. And he's the only one that's wearing one.
Yes.
But okay. So
But it
then
was-
the wife gets taken, right? And
Well, so when you're talking about this uniform or this, this armor that he's wearing, so Richard Burton, because of how fucking heavy his armor was, he actually got overheated, got unconscious, and fell from a platform one day because that's how much it was. And Richard Burton says it's the only time in his career that's ever happened to him.
wow.
So whatever they were doing, I mean, they were filming this in Canada, so how hot could it have been? But that armor must have been just like suffocating. So yeah,
Wow.
fun little tidbit for you.
So, so the wife gets taken, right, by some Krugs or something for some reason. There's no reason that they take her, and well, I guess aren't they taking some people? Actually, now that I think about it, they're taking some slaves,
So they
some
took
slaves.
they took farmer's
somewhere.
wife and a few other people to take prisoner. But this is where like Ron Perlman, the wife or the brother of farmer's wife and farmer are like a trio that are on a mission to take down the bad wizard or something. And this is where they go on this adventure, and there's a part where they are trying to go across this rope, like walk across this rope, and the rope just breaks or something, and they all come flying down. They all should be dead. It's 100-foot drop, and they just walk away, no problem.
It's
totally
like
fine.
It's like just some Home Alone bullshit in the middle of this Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings movie, And don't they ask the king or somebody for a bunch of horses or something, right? And they make a whole big deal about needing horses, and then they're in they have a 5-second scene with horses, and until they get to this chasm, and then they do this stupid horse or the rope shit, and then they don't have horses anymore.
And they don't have horses
didn't need
anymore
them at all.
And then, and then one of the next parts is they get through that, and then they're in this forest, and all of a sudden they're getting trapped by vines tying them up. The vine people, like, they all get tied up, and you're like, oh, this is it. They're gonna get killed or taken prisoner or something. And the people that live in the forest basically just cut them down and be like, just be more careful next time, okay?
It's like
And
total.
just fucking send him on his way.
Okay, but what you need to imagine here during this is forest Cirque du Soleil happening. with these
It is,
finds.
yeah.
Because
That's exactly what it was.
Because it was all of these like woodland women, and they're all like in poses as they vine across the forest, right? They all have their legs, like at angles and stuff, and they're doing, and then one's upside down for some reason, and then okay, I remember
Just
this
the whole
like,
time they keep the guys keep looking for them, right? And they're like, we can hear something, we don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden they're upside down, and all these people are like, hello,
and
like
then
swing it around.
And then so they say we're on this quest to for whatever, and they're like, hey man, the war and stuff, and it's guys are this is the forest, and who cares, and then they convince him, they convince the forest people to let them go, and so they say, so they lead them through the forest, and they say, this is as far as we'll take you, and it's exactly where all the prisoners are. Like they say begrudgingly, like, we're not going to take you anywhere farther, and it's literally exactly where they need to be.
Where they need to be, and they can't swing any further. So why would they wouldn't want to go any further because they can't swing. So
they take them to the border of their forest where they don't leave. So thanks. Thanks for begrudgingly getting me exactly where I wanted to go faster than I could have if I had walked. Right?
So stupid.
Oh
my gosh.
Okay, so Matthew Lillard breaks off this faction, right, of the king's armies under
because he poisoned the king,
right, and then he convinced
he thinks he killed the king, which surprise did not. He's back later on, but I think he takes like what 2/3 of the army and is like, we're gonna go join the Kriegs.
Okay. You saying that reminded me of okay, yeah. Okay. He said, I'm taking the 11th and 12th brigades or whatever, right? And then I distinctly remember later, after the king wakes up, the king asking the wizard, what's the status? And the king says, or the wizard says, we have 1/3 of our army left.
Yep.
If Lillard takes 2/12 or 1/6, then there's 5/6 of the army left that the king has. Right? I don't know, like what wizardry he's doing, what kind of wizard math he's doing, but like maybe that's why he's losing all his guards. That his wizard's a fucking idiot.
That's exactly right.
And then, okay, so, but at one point he convinces Farmer to join forces or something, right? And there's this whole revelation of the fact that, surprise, Farmer is the king's son because the king, had, a concubine somewhere, and they just kind of threw him in the dumpster or something at a local fair, like basically, right? I don't know. It's like they threw the baby away.
Well, there's
right.
There's so the part leading up to that, which everything you're saying is 100% exactly how it is in the movie, but there's a part where somehow Farmer gets captured by the evil wizard, and so the evil wizard is hanging Farmer on his neck, so he is literally suffocating, hanging
by the water or something, right?
with a guy by the water with a tree hanging over, and there's this big guy that he's avataring, and somehow Jason Statham's character Farmer spins around, grabs a knife out of the guy's pocket, kills him by stabbing him while he's spinning, cuts his arms free, and then he cuts off the rope. And then just falls to the ground. And you're like, what just happened?
Because it was so blurry or something, right? It's like all too fast and blurry. But then like it doesn't the kid find him on the ground? He like passes out or something as a result of that.
It's the good wizard. It's the
the
guy that's with the king. Yeah, but yeah, that is, and then after that, that is when Farmer learns all of this history about the king and like, you're my son. I just basically left you to the wolves. So
just
I'm glad you made it back, though.
Yeah. So you should go ahead, take over the army. They're yours. It's what sons do.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. I mean, it just falls apart after this because it's just this stupid battles and stuff. Like, it's the nephew and Farmer fight for the right to the kingdom.
Krugs and they fight the Krugs.
And the Krugs and the human and Krugs fight. But then there's finally this epic battle between the wizard and Farmer.
But you're forgetting.
And there's flying.
Something about.
What did I miss?
Something about ninjas come out of nowhere, right? Like so there's.
Yes.
I'm remembering, it's like classic old timey battle where, the two armies, and they're facing off, right? And then it's like, you go. And then all of a sudden there's about 5 little guys dressed all in black silk. They come like springing up from behind the ranks. And then they're like, ninja music, chimes, poing. And then they like shoot some jingle bells or something, and then they go up into some trees, and then they're like raining down these jingle bells and then they don't do anything, and then I think they all fucking die immediately, like these ninjas.
My note is when the ninjas show up, it's just like, what's with these ninjas running around? It added nothing to this plot.
Because
this
is like we said, Lord of the Rings. This is King Arthur type bullshit. Right, with infantry and cavalry and swords, and all these fucking ninjas come out of nowhere and jump 30 feet up into the tree and rain down jingle bells, and then they all die. I think. And then
oh god.
But yeah, as Benny was saying, they get to the castle, and because the girl says, who knows, the daughter actually. This is 100% the wizard's daughter's fault, I think, that all of this is happening, right? Because
totally, yeah. She got totally duped.
There's some kind of magic element or something that she gave him, right?
Yeah, I think because she was with him so many times, he was like grooming her, but it was grooming her to like give him the powers or the knowledge to take her father down.
Because there's like only one wizard can do a thing or something, and because she's her bloodline is part of the wizard clan or something. I don't know. He got blood magic or something he didn't otherwise have access to.
Yeah,
and it's because she was
yeah. There's this epic battle between the good wizard and the bad wizard in the room where there's all these weapons. Yeah. But they don't pick up the swords. It's a wizard fight. So they're all just, the swords are swinging around.
Swords just kind of like, ding, 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 right? And
they're all like using their hands. Stupid.
I don't know. The wizard dies or something, right? The good wizard dies.
Yeah,
right?
The bad wizard stabs him somehow with one of the swords. Yeah, he gets a sword through
a magic bullet thing. Yeah, and then
that's where the daughter feels like she killed her own father because it was her fault, and he takes his last breath and gives all of his power that he has left to his daughter to hopefully, I don't know, fight in the future.
Yeah, in the main battle, I guess, or the final battle between the bad wizard and Jason or a farmer, like they're in a library and they're just flinging books at each other. And at one point, one of them gets pinned down by books in midair or something, right?
Yes,
it's books. That was his undoing.
Books. Just swirling books everywhere. They were using books as shackles. Books were shackles to hold people down.
Yeah. So
I mean, it just all I don't. It all ends with you think
How
that
does it end?
Farmer's
I don't
gonna
know. I don't.
die.
Yeah.
Farmer's wife stabs the wizard, and then Farmer just cuts his head off, and then the Krugs just vanish because they were all just magic, and he just saves the day. Yeah, well, that's how it ends.
I remember the book Tornado is the last thing I remember from this.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing happens after that. I mean, his head gets cut off, and then the movie just ends.
So is he the king then? Does he take the throne?
Yeah, he's the king. Sure. I don't know.
He is the name of the king, right? I guess.
Yeah, there was a part like so when the king and Farmer meet, and like he's like, "You're my son," and all this other stuff. Like the king is like talking about all this, like, wisdom is our hammer, prudence is our nail, courage never fails, and Farmer just says, I'm a simple farmer. That's all I know. And that's it. That was the dialogue.
Wasn't there a part of that speech was the king says, all these battles over the years robbed me of my son or something, right? And then Farmer says something like, you forget that they robbed me of mine. And the only difference is that like Farmer's son actually died in the battle.
Right.
Right.
Really did.
The king threw his baby away in a McDonald's dumpster, right? But Farmer actually lost his son to these battles. And I'm remembering during that battle in the forest, right, with the ninjas flying around and stuff, I just remembered the Krugs had these catapults, right? And what they're throwing rocks and stuff. At one point, they ran out of rocks, and so they just started catapulting other Krugs.
Catapulting each other. Like they were doing it like super excited.
Yeah. They filmed this. They edited this. They did special effects with wires and everything for a guy flying through the air, all for the eventuality that the Krug just crashed into a tree and did nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the purpose of that kind of...
I don't know.
If you're talking about how we had to cut out 3 hours worth of footage and they left that in, right?
Well, also this doesn't. Some of the individual Krug costumes that were like used like in the filming, not more just like background. They were $10,000 each to produce. So think of how much they spent on these stupid Krug costumes.
Oh my god!
And then the film itself had over 1,200 digital effects. So 12 shots of digital effects. So like the whole film is digital, right? I mean, there's a lot you can tell. And then there's a medicine after he was being hung, and then he cuts himself down. Like the good wizard gives Farmer this like medicine, and the director concocted tea mixed with ketchup, but didn't tell Jason Statham that that's what it was. So when he gets the medicine, like his disgusted reaction was a real reaction. So it's like,
wow, that's storytelling right there.
Good job. Uwe Boll, whatever his name is, he did win the Razzie. So for the worst director that year.
Nice. And they ended up making more of these, right?
2 more of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's 3 of them. I don't know how you can do that, but
holy smokes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. One last thing that flashed back in my memory. Okay. Mm-hmm. So to get into that, they do the battle thing in the forest, and then the bad wizard is holed up in this mountainside lair castle thing, right? It's impenetrable, except the good wizard knows one little portal place or entrance spot in the rocks or something. And so at one point, the little wood nymphs show up to help them, vine around or something. And
Mm-hmm.
she was annoyed by all this war, right? So they got involved, right? So she was going to go with them to the mountain, right? So it's this party. It's the good wizard. It's Jason Statham. It's the wizard's daughter, and then this wood nymph. And they swing a rope across the chasm, right? And, a few of them go over. But then there's like this flyover shot after they enter the castle. There's kind of this montage of they're going in through the castle and stuff. And then there's this flyover shot of the wood nymph on top of the mountain range running. And they never get back to that at all. It was just
had to make
left in by a mistake or something.
Just had to make some strategic
absolutely
cuts.
No purpose. I don't
know. The original film, or the original script that was developed, took over a year to develop the script. In the end, one of the writers had to rewrite 80% of the script because the original story was way too close to Lord of the Rings, so they had to redo it all.
That's awesome.
So that's. Yeah, I mean, you can tell the elements were some of the inspiration, but I just
it's so clearly a
credit
dollar
is
store, like
I mean, credit to having the imagination to think of something like this, but at the same time, that's why these things are based off books.
I don't know.
For the most
this
part,
was like we said. This was the worst thing I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot, right? Because
are you sure it's as bad as White Space?
I think so. Yeah.
I think White Space still might be the worst one, but because that, I don't know.
Yeah.
That.
The only I guess what this has going for it is the cast, right? And there was the whole Cirque du Soleil thing and the vines and stuff, and maybe Beyond White Space is the worst thing because that was bad. And
but this is
right.
This is very bad too. So I'm not gonna. So this is an Ascension.
Yeah, easy Ascension. This is our first. As I'm putting this in the records, this is the first all caps Ascension.
All caps Ascension. As always, this is the Ascension 10 podcast. So we do rate on an 11-point scale, 10 being the best thing you've ever seen, and Ascension being the worst thing you've ever seen. So
that's right.
Yeah, man, I don't know. That you can put it in the books.
I'm glad we're finally got this one off our backs.
Yeah. I know we already picked out the I know we got the next one picked out. We're doing
Highlander.
Highlander. So that'll be the next one up.
That's right.
Knock that out.
That's right.
I don't know what else we got, Chad. Anything?
Make sure to hit us up on the socials. Please write to us. Actually, if I guess if you want to see an 8 to 10 tasteful nudes thing, we can incorporate that as a Patreon perk.
We'd also appreciate we'd appreciate some movie recommendations. It's always nice to get some that aren't necessarily just coming from our two brains. Velocipastor was the latest one that we got. That was an outside recommendation, which that was phenomenal. Yep. But,
please write to us. Please let us know what you think, or if we missed anything. Or
Boys at Ascension to 10. Or you can find us on socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Ascension, the number 2 TEN.
Watch us on
until next
YouTube.
Time.
We put a lot of effort into the YouTube channel,
YouTube.
So make it
the
a little more entertaining.
Podcast.
Otherwise, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. He's Jad. I'm Spinny.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Ascension to 10.